Hi everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I wanted to show you how to make this really pretty sunflower card that I created. This is my original version. This is a second version that I've done, and I'm going to show you it's pretty simple. We use some masking. As you can see, the leaves are behind the sunflower. So this uses the Celebrate Sunflower stamp set. And then also you're going to need the coordinating, I believe it is Sunflower Season. I could be wrong on the name, but you're going to need the dies for two different reasons. So first of all, this very intricate die I actually used to cut out the vellum piece that overlays. And then the other piece that's pretty integral in this is the actual sunflower cutout. So this does coordinate with it. I will give you a couple tips about this as well, but you're going to need this to be able to do the masking. So I have a lot of this already pre-cut, but I wanted to show you what I meant. So for this card, what we're going to do is it's on a base of crumb cake. Okay, so you can see, so it's 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5.5. Then we have some So Saffron, a little bit of soft suede that's actually a suede piece, and I'll tell you how I got that. It's actually pretty simple. Then I added just some embellishments to the finished card, and these are actually the Fine Sparkle Adhesive Back Gems, and they're really pretty. They have several different colors, so they're lots of fun. So let me show you how to get started. So to begin, now I do have a little bit of this done ahead of time, and reason being is one of the parts of this you're really going to need to wait until it is 100% dry before you add the vellum. Otherwise, the vellum does not stick very well. So that's just something that you want to note, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to open our soft suede, and I want to show you one other portion ahead of time as well. So we are going to use masking paper for this, and this is really, really important. So I already have a mask. Actually, we probably used the first mask for about 8 cards, so this is my second mask. But what you're going to want to do is, and this is why it's really important, you're going to want to ink up your sunflower image, stamp it on masking paper, and then die cut it. Because if not, just the points of this are really, really hard to distinguish what goes where. So I now, because I've done this so many times, know where these two little points go on my image once I stamp it. But if you don't do this and you do it blank, which is how I took it to the card party, which was a big mistake, but anyway, live and learn, right? You definitely want to make sure that you stamp your masking paper, okay? So let me see. I'm just going to go ahead, because this is a rather large stamp, I'm actually going to put it down and then ink on top of it with the soft suede. It doesn't need to be super dark, but you can see there's some very distinctive parts of the flower. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this kind of down a little bit more to the left. And you do want this to dry. So I'm just going to give this just a moment to dry. In the meantime, I'm going to show you, we do have our base card here already cut. I have some ribbon. This is actually from a ribbon pack, and I just want to share this with you. This is the Old Olive and Sahara Sand combo pack, and I've already used one entire roll of this green, so luckily I accidentally ordered 2 because I totally used one whole piece. For our sentiment, we're just going to stamp that onto a little scrap of white, so I'm going to do that in the meantime. I'm just going to do thanks a bunch. And I'm going to try to stamp this one to the bottom so I can cut it out a little bit better. You could do anything you want, but I originally did this in black, but I think it looks a little bit nicer in soft suede. So that's just going to set off and dry. We are going to still need the soft suede for the leaf image. And then one other thing I should have here. Where's my little packet? Here it is. So basically, I have my vellum die cut, and this is the really detailed die cut. Now you can see that it doesn't look like vellum because I actually put adhesive sheet on the back of it prior to cutting it, so it makes it way easier to stick. So that is definitely a really, really good tip. And then this piece here, and what I'm going to tell you about this is this would be originally one piece of cardstock. It's just a little thin strip. And then what you do is you take your bone folder, and I'm just going to show you with a different piece because I already cut it. But basically what you do is you take your bone folder and you just work back and forth on a piece of cardstock. Break up the fibers. And then once you can get it apart, which is usually fairly easy, I'm not going to pull this whole thing, but basically what you do is you just peel it apart, and then it gives you a very suede-like piece. So you use this with the softer edge facing up. So it's a really cool way to add a lot of texture without really doing much of anything, quite honestly. All right, so now that this is dried just slightly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mask. I'm just removing this. And again, I kind of look for a distinctive spot. So right here is where these two petals split right here. And then I know that pretty much right above, let me make sure I'm going the right direction. Right above there, these pieces are going to fit in. So I'm kind of just eyeballing, making sure I have most everything covered. That looks pretty good. And then you just want to press out to the edge. Now, one thing I will tell you is we're going to sponge this a little bit. So if you smudge it, it's not a big deal. So just kind of keep that in mind. But it's pressed down fairly well. Then I'm going to take my leaf image. And I'm just going to stamp it once, twice. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And if there's a little spot that didn't get filled in, no big deal, because we're going to do some, not watercoloring, but some ink coloring with our dye ink. But we're actually going to use something different. So this is pretty fun. So I'm going to peel this off. And then you can use this again. So I'm just going to stick it right back into my stamp case. Okay, and now we're going to do a little bit of inking. So I have crushed curry here. Now I have already squeezed this, so I have some shimmer pen here. You can see a little bit of it got onto my ink pad, but I'm not concerned with that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an older Wink of Stella brush. So this doesn't really have much in here, but it really makes for a great painting tool. So what you're going to do is just dip in here, and then we're going to start coloring our flower. So I'm going to show you what I mean. So it's not terrifically long. You do want it a little bit darker at the bases so you can kind of fill in the edges of your petals a little bit more. When you re-ink, I kind of always start at the base of the flowers because I feel like it's just a little bit darker. There. I've also done the same technique with Daffodil Delight, and it still gives enough yellow with just having this on the So Saffron that it gives a really pretty color. So if you don't happen to have crushed curry, you could definitely use Daffodil Delight. So Saffron would just be a little bit too light. You certainly could use it if you're in a pinch, or any other yellow on yellow that you may have. But basically, that's the yellow portion. And then I'm not going to use this one again just because I'm trying to make it not terrifically long. We're going to do the same with our Pear Pizzazz. So I just have another kind of dead Wink of Stella pad. Now what I usually do is I'll kind of start where the stem would be and just blend out a little bit. But when you do the base images, and I'll show you on the other side, you want to make sure that you fill in. So if for some reason you had like a little bit missed spot, this is your chance to fill that in with color for the green. Okay, so there's that one. This one you can see there's a large gap here, so I'm going to show you how to fix that. So again, we're still going to follow the stem, but then we're just going to make sure we go down like so. And same thing, just like that. And I'm just going to pull in some, just a little bit. So this is what it's going to eventually look like. So I'm going to show you. I'm just going to proceed a little bit. Now, when you use your Wink of Stella pen, all you want to do is just brush it off until it's clear, and you can use that completely on another one. So I'm going to set this aside. And I have one that's already dried. So here is the thing. The other thing I did was I did use soft suede on the inside. You can wet this with your brush while it's still wet, but you might need to bring in just a little bit from your ink pad. But basically, this is what it looks like when it's dry. One other thing that I did is I took my bone folder and just kind of ran around the edges here to rough it up a little bit. Okay, and that gives you that. You only want to do 3 sides because we're going to die cut the other one. And then one other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab, I'm trying to find my brownish blender brush. I must have put it somewhere else. All right, we're just going to have to make another one kind of brownish. So I'm going to take a blending brush and super gently, because I don't really want a ton of ink here, I'm just going to go in the lid a little bit. And I'm just going to brush just a little bit, because this kind of is, I don't even know what kind of a card you call this, but I don't know. Country is, I guess, something I'm thinking of. I don't know if that is or isn't. This has got a little bit of orange in it. I'm going to have to wipe this out. But I just want a little bit of kind of like that rusticy country. I don't even know what you call it. Gosh, I'm at a loss for words. But anyway, that's what you want to do. So we kind of did that on the edge a little bit. Again, we just continued with the soft suede for that. And I'm going to put this on the side. So now what we're going to do is grab our basic borders dies, and we're going to cut this edge right here. And what I try to do is kind of find a pinpoint to the end, and then usually it matches up. I'm just going to put a piece of washi just to hold this in place, and I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. So again, I already did some other die cutting earlier. So then it does stitch both sides, which is pretty cool. So that's nice. I ripped that piece just a little bit. It's okay. Just give us a little bit more texture. So that's the basic borders dies. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our very fine tip glue pen, whatever one you prefer, and we're just going to put a little bit of glue on the points here. And then we're going to just line this up onto our soft suede piece. Just like that. Okay, so there is that. And I'm going to grab my little piece of ribbon here. Take this. Tie a little faux. It doesn't, actually, it's not a faux bow. We're just going to tie a knot. So let me just make sure this is tight just slightly. Now you don't want to curl your paper, so just be sure that you have it so it's secured so it doesn't turn in. So curling the edge is okay, but you don't want it like this is what I should have been a little bit clearer about. I just grab my snips and I'm going to trim this off. And that looks good, just like so. Okay, so we're going to get two things. Let me just trim this out. And I kind of trim right along the bottom so it's straight. And then with this piece here, what I've been doing is just cutting kind of along the scripty part. And I'm turning my paper, not my scissors, which kind of makes it a little bit easier. And just sticking it just like that. So you can put that up on dimensionals if you like. It just kind of depends what you prefer, really. All right, so we have just a little bit of adhering and we're done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and peel the backing. Now you can pop these out if you want, but they will come off pretty easily when you peel the backing. And again, you definitely want to make sure this is fully dry, okay? So, oh my goodness, come on, Rach, I know you can do it. Oops, that I need. It really is simple, but I cut my fingernails. There's a split piece. This will be a good spot. I cut my fingernails and I realized that I use them a lot to pull stuff apart when it comes to paper crafting and stamping. So it's funny because if your nails are too long, you can't pick anything up. And if you have no nails, you can't pick anything up either. It's a very fine line. All right, so this in the center is going to be your major adhesive part, okay? So we're just going to, and this does not need to line up necessarily. I'm going to press this. We're going to give this a really good press. If there are some pieces that stick up, that's totally okay. But you want to make sure that the main component here stays flat, okay? So now I'm going to just put some adhesive on the back. Oh, come on. This must be at the end of its life. Let's see. Let's try this one. I usually have two here just in case. That's why. All right, and you're going to see I did botch this up because I stamped this on the wrong spot. When I had started a video the other day, I stamped it on here and I was like, wow, it doesn't look like it's really very bright. Well, no wonder, Ding-a-ling, you stamped it onto the wrong thing. So we're just going to cover that up. That's why there's layers and also 2 sides to paper, right? All right, so we have that. The only other thing we need to do is add our sentiment, and I'm going to do that with my dimensionals, which I just had a second ago. Hold on, I'm going to pull these out. Holy moly, did I use them all? Maybe I did use them all, which is just absolutely crazy to me, but that's okay. Always have plenty of dimensionals. And I also have one stamp case. Ironically, this is just a tip that lost one of its pegs here. Well, look, the second one's falling out now as well. And what I do is I can't get it to stay shut, so I just use a little piece of washi to keep it closed. So, and I keep my dimensionals in it, so that's pretty handy. All right, so all I'm going to do is add just a little. Let me go with this way. I kind of cut this in half for part of it, and then you can use the other little pieces if you want, but basically stick that there and just need another really little piece. Like that. And you can see, even on the edges here, like some of this will pull up a little bit, but that's okay because your main component is glued down, so you're good. And then I'm going to just put my thanks a bunch here, which will also kind of help to secure my ribbon. And then last but not least, let me just get a little bit of this stuff out of the way. I'm going to grab my take your pick tool, and I'm going to give this a little twist so I get a hopefully fresh putty there. And I'm just going to pop a couple of these little doodads all over the card. I kind of, when I did these, I really didn't pick any specific color because I thought they were all really, really cute. And I know typically I do a 3, but I figured since I was doing all of them, I might as well just do 4. And I just kind of put them triangle, triangle, triangle. So I figured that was close enough to let it work. And now I have lost my cap. Here it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed this card. There were a few steps to it again because I did omit some of it just to make it so it wasn't a super duper long video, but it is really fun. I think it's really sweet. And again, just looking at the different ones, I mean, I added different amounts of soft suede, so some of them are a little bit darker, some of them are a little bit lighter. Oh, this one I realized I never put the little gems on, so I might as well do that while I'm finishing up. I want to thank you all so very much for stopping in and visiting with me today. I hope you are having a wonderful day wherever you are. If you would like to get any of the projects to make this, if you would like to get any of the products to make this or any other projects, got tongue-tied, you can visit my online store 24/7, rachthestamper.stampinup.net. There are lots of great specials going on, depending on what time of year it is. We have lots of great deals. If you want to join up as a demonstrator, if you want to just be a discount shopper, which is a really great deal. That's actually how I started doing these videos. I was a discount shopper, and I was like, well, I'll just go for the discount because Lord knows I'm never going to do anything. And look, here I am. I think I'm now almost up to 5,000 subscribers, almost. So if you know anyone who hasn't subscribed yet, or you know someone who would love this type of a video, please feel free to share it with them. And I think I have surpassed the amount of videos that I ever in my wildest dream expected to make, which is pretty cool if you ask me. I mean, just thinking you were never going to make videos, and now I make videos all the time. Granted, not as much lately, but I'm trying to catch back up again. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching and joining me today. If you haven't already, I would love for you to give this video a thumbs up. You can subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button on the channel, and make sure you turn on the bell, which will notify you when I make a new video. You also, I would love to hear your comments. So if you have a comment about this video, or if you have a friend to share it with, I would love for you to share it with a new crafter. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.